good morning, and it is just good morning, but really, I think that it's actually 4:45 in the morning, because I arrived 24 hours ago, or just over, and I'm still in UK time. So, I'm either having a great party, and it's 4:45 in the morning, or I should have gone to bed a lot earlier. But, first of all, the first thing I really want to say is congratulations. Yesterday we went to Cummins. As you know, I got involved in this project right from the beginning. September 2011, I arrived with my colleague Nick Symes, and we visited some 20 schools. And the 10 schools that I visited, I can say I did not see one child ask a question of the teacher, not one. And I was astonished that it was so teacher-centric, so focused by the teacher, and the teachers were asking questions. Most of the questions were about, what do you know? Tell me what I've taught you, and then give it back to me. That's not what I saw, not just yesterday, but on the other visits that I made to schools over the last few months when I've been here. There's been a transformation, in my view, and remember, I see lots and lots of schools in lots and lots of countries. I think you've made an amazing step change already, and I really congratulate you on that, and I think there's a momentum building that we will see Malaysia be at the forefront of. There is no other country in the world taking this approach, a whole school approach to the teaching of thinking across the whole nation. So that's where I want to start from. I'm just so excited that I'm still here, involved with such an exciting and life-changing project. So briefly though, that's not what I was asked to talk about, but I couldn't resist saying it. But about, just briefly, pick up on some of the points, but about best practices in school leadership. So, we start with ourselves, don't we? What kind of leader am I? Do we know what kind of leader we are as the head of the school? It's so important to know and understand ourselves, obviously. What makes me tick? How do you see your own role in the school? Can you articulate that? We're all different, we all have different styles. My school and its context, and I'm going to come back to that briefly at the end, that all of this is about localization, it's about your school. Every school is different. The culture of the school is slightly different to every other school. And that's why this is not a program, it's an approach. Because you, as head teachers, as principals, will determine the way in which this is implemented in your school. Because it will be a bit different to every other school. Assessing your own school, knowing your school, knowing where it's going to go and what's going on in there at the moment. How do we lead change successfully? Right from the word go, I remember saying to the people in AIM and MOE, the key here is to build capacity. Build capacity in Malaysia in order that you take charge and responsibility. We can bring some ideas, and we can bring some tools, and we can bring some techniques, but it's this bit about, it's not what comes from abroad. You listen to that and take note of it, but it's what you do with it, of course. And that's absolutely fundamental. It's building capacity nationally, it's building capacity locally in your own school. Taking staff with us, and of course that's a mixture of carrots and sticks, isn't it? And we've seen and heard a lot about that already this morning. Finally, last one, and then I've got some personal observations. Developing this action plan. It's so important to have a very clear action plan which sets short and long-term objectives. Now I know your long-term objectives, but haven't you achieved such a lot in such a short time? It's astonishing, in my view. What are the quality assurance issues? How do you assure the quality of the program, of the approach? Are you confident that you can identify what those are? Monitoring the progress. We've heard a lot about that from their teachers so far, and I guess we'll hear a lot more from the other 5 as well. Gathering the evidence, we've seen a study there by UPM of the impact in some of the schools that they've looked at already. And then feeding back this reflection, reviewing to inform the future plans. Okay, and I'm just going to now just pick up on some points that of my own, really. And I really resonate with what Dr. Balla was saying about the principal being a lead learner. It's such a key phrase. In all the successful schools I've seen, the head teacher, principal, sees themselves as the lead learner. It's just a key message. The principals and head teachers I see are hands-on. Often they're part of the drive teams here, but in every school where there's been a change, there's a hands-on approach. The head teacher is not sitting back, pontificating from on high, or sitting in their office. They're out there, in the classrooms. Also, they're modelling. You know, if we expect the classrooms to be, and the children to be working in a particular way, if we want them to interact, we've got to model and use the tools in our own daily practice. And I see in many schools, head teachers conducting their senior management team meetings, all of them using the tools, all of them practicing what they preach. Owning the approach, and just reinforce it again, it's about your school, it's about the local element, identifying what is broader than your own school, and then making sure that it works in your environment and in your culture. Spending time reflecting, reviewing, researching, and planning. And one of the problems we've got in many of our UK schools is that the school do not recognise and understand how important that is. Before you start, reflect, review, research and plan. And we urge schools to take time at the beginning of a project to do that. And then continuously, keep feeding back, keep looking outside. Focus on process, not structure. It's the process that goes on in the school that's more important, in my view, than the structures and reorganising and so on. Trusting teachers and students. We saw that yesterday. Such an immense amount of trust and faith in the teachers and in the students. Sharing, and I don't mean just sharing inside the school, sharing with other head teachers. That opportunity to interact with others is very difficult to get, but I know in the showcase schools the opportunities are being developed in order to do that and are happening. I like the 3 C's that I saw earlier on: commitment, communication and cooperation. I think they're really underlying principles, really. When I come here, I see so much that I see in other countries. So what we are doing here is not unique, but it is about something that is happening worldwide. In the last 2 weeks and in the next 4 weeks, we're in Norway, Lithuania, and in Dubai. Now, in all of those countries, they're facing the same challenge. They are addressing the same issues. What you're doing, though, is taking it as a nation. And I do applaud you, and I'm deeply impressed that you are taking that role. It's not the case in other countries. It tends to be individual schools or groups of schools. Finally, and I am at the end, because more important that we listen to David, there's just been a study in the UK of the accredited schools. The schools that have been taking this role, taking this approach for several years and have been recognised by the University of Exeter for the quality of the work that they do. It's a preliminary study, but what it does show, and again it's about qualitative and quantitative, in the feedback from every school is that their students are now managing their learning much more effectively. They have become or becoming independent learners. And it seems to me it's blatantly obvious that if you encourage and you teach and support and help young people to become effective learners, why wouldn't the results go up? They're not going to go down, are they? They're going to go up, and that's exactly what's been found here. It's what's been found in the UK. In every school, the results attainment has improved. So the emphasis is not on the results of the exams. The emphasis is on teaching and helping and encouraging young people to think effectively. And then, by definition, in my view, results are bound to improve. So this is about growing thinking schools from the inside out. Thinking is at the heart of everything. It's at the heart of the curriculum. Thinking should be explicit. Thinking is often implicit. I remember a head teacher saying to me a long time ago, I can't think of the number of times I've said to my students, go away and think about that. So they do, they go away, they rewrite their essay in a different form and hand it back. And it's the same content, it's no different. They haven't been taught how to think. That needs to be made explicit in the way that you're doing just here. And finally, you are creating and developing in your schools a common thinking language. So you create that foundation, and the maps are one element of that foundation. There are more that we're going to look at over the next few years. We'll start that in a month or so with you as showcase schools when we look at the disposition side of it. So the language has got to be there, and then once that foundation is there, the school it is embedded, and so it will go on, and the sustainability is there. Thank you. I'll stop at that point. And, thank you very much.